What's that one thing that would get there? And you ask the normal man and woman, husband and wife, anyone down in the street would have, and normally they would have their sort of targets, right? I want a happy family, I want to achieve success for my kids, they can go to university, and all these, they have these sort of stuff down on the paper. You go to an entrepreneur, and very rarely will he give you a definitive line going, yep, if I hit $1 million, I'm done. Or if I hit $10 million in value, I'm done. Or if I build a company with 500 people.
Welcome to the Gentleman Success, Happiness, and Fulfillment Talk podcast, where we bring to you the most successful, happy, fulfilled gentlemen from around the world who have been able to conquer themselves, their life, their marriage, and their businesses. You will be learning from four-dimensional gentlemen who have cracked the code to the science of having it all. The question is, how can married entrepreneurs with kids become gentlemen, achieve true freedom, and build a successful, happy, and fulfilled life, marriage, and business? This show will give you the answer for that. My name is Alex Ramirez, and I'm your host, and you're welcome to the Gentleman Success, Happiness, Fulfillment Talk podcast. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of the Gentleman Success, Happiness, and Fulfillment. As always, I have an incredible guest with me today that I'm very excited to get to talk to, learn from, and connect with. He has an amazing story. He went through some hard stuff, not so long ago, which I'm excited to talk about that, not because I'm excited that it happened to him, but I'm excited to learn from it. And before I introduce him to you, though, I just want to give a big shout out to all of you who have been leaving comments, reviews, and likes on all the major podcasting platforms, Apple, Google, Spotify, and to those who have been watching on YouTube as well. Thank you very much. And I want to ask you for a favor today. I want to ask you that if you get something out of this interview, if you get some type of value, if you get some type of information, a new insight, a skill, or if you get inspiration to go out and take action to keep on moving towards your goals, I want to ask you to please share this interview with 10 people. Share it on your social media, post it on Facebook, send it through WhatsApp, message, whatever. Share it with 10 people, because this is how we grow. This is how we're able to share our message and motivate, inspire, and bless other men out there to change their lives. And today I have with me, can you help me with your last name, man?
Lawrence Lotze, man.
All right. It's not that hard. I have Lawrence Lotze. He's a husband, father, entrepreneur, property addict, podcast host of the Wolf of Queen Street podcast with over 100 downloads. And he actually had, a snippet of fame because he did better than Gary V's podcast for 1 week as the number one business podcast, in the entire podcasting industry. And he survived a brain tumor and financial ruin to become a better version of himself. So, Lawrence, thank you very much for being here, man, making some time, and you are welcome, bro.
Thanks so much, Alex, for having you on the show, and thanks for the amazing introduction. And I'm excited to tell a bit of a story and have a little chat, and hopefully get your audience to take something away from it and learn from the struggles, the journeys I've been through, my family's been through, and then learn from sort of the realizations I've had through these moments to where I am today compared to 3 years ago. Just it was only 3 years ago this happened to me.
Yeah, 100%, man. Thanks. That's exactly why we go through struggles, right? Mm-hmm. And through hardships, to learn from them. And when you have the opportunity to learn from someone else's struggles, the impact that they can have in your life is amazing. Like, that helps you collapse time and accelerate further, faster, and with more ease. So yeah, man, the first thing that I do with my guest is I tell them to introduce themselves. No, not introduce themselves, to walk us through their entrepreneurial journey in 75 seconds or less.
Oh, I like that one. My journey, I've been addicted to always finding options, finding ways to make money from a childhood. I ran the school tuck shop out of my dorm room when I was 14 years old, making more money than most people made in a week. And then that bug kept going on into my 20s, looking for further ideas, got into the property game, got into other areas of business, and kept building companies, either successful or unsuccessful, but keep learning from each one of those, and keep chasing what I thought was the success factor, keep chasing this next thing to make it where I want to go. Entrepreneurs, unfortunately, have this challenge of we keep chasing the end line, and the goal line, and sometimes we don't know what it actually is. Yeah. And through my 20s, I kept chasing it, starting up companies, making companies, fell onto this brand now in my 30s. And then obviously it took a major pivot with the brain tumor, which has now brought me back, show me what my actual goal line in life is. And that's what I'm chasing at the moment.
Ooh, that's exciting, man. Let's talk about the chase, man. Because yeah, like most entrepreneurs are chasing something, right? They think that when they get it, then they'll be happy. A good analogy
Correct.
that I like to use for this is, those greyhound dogs,
Yes.
right? Like they're designed to chase rabbits, right?
Yep.
To chase rabbits, but like no matter how fast they run or how strong they are or how good of a breed they come from,
Mm-hmm.
they'll never be able to catch the rabbit because that's just how the game is designed, right? But how do
Correct.
you think the dog feels at the end of the race when he didn't catch the rabbit?
He
He feels
still wants to
amazing.
go, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
he still wants to chase it. It's an interesting point. I was having a discussion with someone just a last couple of months, and we had this thing, and this is where it's a difference between a person that's got a true entrepreneurship in their blood and in their genes and in their style compared to a normal person. And what it was a simple question, and it was, what is your one thing, whether it's an object, a car, a person, a situation, or monetary value or level, that you, if you hit that, you would say, yes, I'm successful and I'm done and I've achieved my life. What's that one thing that you would get there? And you ask the normal man and woman, husband and wife, anyone down in the street would have, and normally they would have their sort of targets, right? I want a happy family. I want to achieve success for my kids. They can go to university, and all these, they have these sort of stuff down on the paper. You go to an entrepreneur, and very rarely will he give you a definitive line going, yep, if I hit $1 million, I'm done. Or if I hit $10 million in value, I'm done. Or if I build a company with 500 people in there and we're changing lives, I'm done. Because for the entrepreneur, the bug is not hitting that goal line. It's achieving that goal line now and then straight away looking for the next goal line. So my wife actually asked me that question, and she said to me, Lawrence, what is yours? And as I thought, I couldn't say definitively what their goal line was, and as a hard line that if I hit it, I would have a tick box.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been able to bring that in and make it a goal line for myself for 2022, for example. So I've been able to go, okay, cool, let's bring it in and control it. Let's make a 2022 goal line, and that's what you're chasing for this year. And if you hit it, that's a tick box for this year.
Okay. Awesome. Well, let's see. So what is the one thing that if you hit it would like make you feel successful, happy, and fulfilled?
So at the moment, a big thing about myself, my journey, my brand, is I'm trying to, in 2022, I'm trying to help as many people for free. So my journey in 2022 is I just launched a campaign only about a week ago. I'm giving away 1,000 hours of my time. It's worth over $150,000. I'm giving away 1,000 hours of my time for anyone that needs help in social media, business, content creation, the whole journey, podcasting, anyone that needs help in that. And that's sort of the big thing that I want to do in 2022. The last couple of years, we got hit so hard, no matter where you were in the world, the crazy situation, the COVID, the politics, the economy, everyone got hit so hard that when I started at the beginning of the year, I said, that's enough. People need help. We need education. We need honesty, and we need integrity. And that's what 2022 for me is. I'm trying to help as many people as possible, so that at the end of 2022, only one person comes back to me and goes, hey, dude, you helped me out this year, and I've been able to achieve something I didn't think I could do before. If one person does that to me at the end of the year, then I know I've made a difference, and that's my target for this year.
Nice. I like that, man. So, with this one thing question, do you use it for short term, quote unquote, 1 year, or do you use it for like life?
At the moment, it's becoming a longer form view of my direction at the moment. So I don't know if you want me to, Alex, to get into my story for your audience, because a lot of what I am and doing at the moment relates back to what happened to me 3 years ago. So I don't know if you want me to go back into it. So let me just take you a couple of years back to anyone that's listening at the moment. So as Alex says, I run the Wolf of Queen Street podcast. I'm based in Auckland, New Zealand, born in South Africa. And when I started this podcast 3 years ago, I had all the success in the world. I achieved everything. I had all the monetary value. Again, I had all those tick boxes, but never felt like I had the success. I started the Wolf of Queen Street podcast off a knockoff of the Wolf of Wall Street, right? I wanted to be Jordan Belfort. I wanted the success and the money and all that crazy stuff that brought with me, because I thought that would give me the fulfillment. Started the brand, went a couple of months into running the podcast, and life as life does to us, it threw me a curveball. I got diagnosed with a golf ball sized brain tumor in March of 2019. So if you think about it, only 3 years ago, golf ball size. So that size brain tumor. They said to me, I had to get sorted. I had to get it sorted right away. I couldn't wait. I had to go into to get it fixed. And on the 26th of June, on my birthday, 26th of June, 2019, I went in on my 35th birthday to have brain surgery. On the day that I normally celebrated of being born, I now celebrate to be alive. Obviously, obviously that surgery was a success because I'm still in here at the moment.
Yeah.
But that was the start point of things changing my life. The side effects of my surgery is something I live with every single day. The tumor was larger than expected. They had to remove my pituitary gland. I've got no control of my hormones. So I can be in an emotional state up and down every single day. There's days I can't get out of bed. There's days I can't talk to my kids because I get too manic or get too angry and a whole lot of other stuff. But through this, from that June, through that process, over the next 6 to 9 months, I was still recovering. I'm self-employed, so my income wasn't coming in. All the strength and stuff that I had a year before, of all the success I thought I had, slowly started to fall away. I didn't have income coming in, so I had to sell a few things. And then I thought I had the insurance, right? We all think we have insurance if we go into a big medical problem. My insurance will pay out. And as always, the insurance company found the fine print, so they didn't pay out. So I ended up, 7, 8 months later after my surgery, not being able to pay my mortgage, not being able to pay my bills, just having all of that, those big things on my shoulders that I had a few years before. And look at me, all of that disappeared. Literally disappeared. That I had almost rock bottom, fundamentally hitting rock bottom at that moment in January, February 2020. As well as that moment, I become such a different person because of how my hormones have changed and how my personality had changed. Myself and my wife were really struggling to make see eye to eye because the person she had married over 10 years earlier was not the same person she saw at the same time.
Yeah.
So at that same period, we had to come up publicly and go, hey, we're not sure if our marriage is going to make it. As well as in the back end, I knew that also we were close to financial ruin. So we had this absolute darkness of moment that I don't wish on anyone, of not knowing where's my life going to go, where's my family going to go, what's going to happen with my kids, what's going to happen with my marriage, also what's going to happen with my financial situation. I'm in such a hole at the moment that if I go into ruin, I'll never recover from it. And it was at that moment, in that darkest point in my life, there was the realization of what is actually important. What is actually a benefit to myself, my family, and everyone around? And what is realistically something we should be doing and what stuff we shouldn't be doing? And a big thing that came out of that moment is obviously I went down and found key mentors. I found people to help me. I found the right people to talk to that took me through all of 2020 and got my life, my business, my life, everything back under control. But one of the biggest learnings that I took from that moment, and which is what's driving me now in the 2020, which I'm talking about, is the realization that you don't need all the money in the world. You don't need to be the most famous in the world. You don't need to have this big tick box of success of what you think it is, because fundamentally, it doesn't mean nothing when you're coming down to the darkest hole in the world, right? And then also I had the big thing realizing that I didn't have to keep all the success. I always had this view that, Alex, you learn everything and you got your story. And we always be brought up going, hey, I've learned all this. Don't share it. Don't share it, because if you share it to someone else, they might take it and become a better version, right? Mm-hmm. And I had this big realization that no matter what I tell you right now, Alex, you are never going to become me. And I'm never going to become you. So why should I hold back in trying to help you? You are only ever going to be Alex. You're going to be a better version, a different version, but you're only ever going to be Alex. You're never going to be anyone else. And that was one of the biggest things that came out into 2020 and going into where I'm today, is this willingness to help, because now I know no one else is ever going to be challenging me. Not that I want people to challenge me, is they are only ever challenging themselves. And I want them to become better human beings. I want them to be a better version of what they are. And I can do that by sharing my knowledge, helping my knowledge, and fundamentally giving it away for free. Because we live in a society or moment that we sometimes struggle to trust what we get, right? Why are you telling me this knowledge? Because is there a reason behind it? Do you want my business? Do you want to upsell me something? Do you want to give me something? And I just said, sorry, I want to help as many people with as much as I know, with no expectations on it, so that they can get better in their lives and they can get educated in their lives in the areas that they need to, so they can become better versions.
Yeah. I love that, man. I love that, because that's why I started this podcast. So, I spent a year, right, trying, as a 20-year-old, trying to pitch 30 to 45-year-olds on helping them grow their business without sacrificing time, health, and family relationships by helping them become modern gentlemen. And you might know, you might guess how that went, right? It didn't went well, right? 20-year-old pitching this 30 to 45-year-olds. I might have had the skills or the framework, whatever, but like no one was ever going to give me money for that. Maybe because of their ego or whatever, or maybe because I didn't have the conviction that I needed on the calls, whatever, right? But I spent an entire year, right, very convicted about my purpose, which is helping men become modern gentlemen, very sure about it. And I was like, this is what I want. Like, it's not working. And I had this idea. Well, let me start a podcast. At least if I'm not able to make sales, and if I'm not able to make money, let me at least start interviewing other modern gentlemen out there, other men who are husband, fathers, entrepreneurs, and have it all, right? They truly free, so that I can not only I can learn from them, but anyone who watches, can also benefit from it, and I can help people become modern gentlemen by doing this podcast. So that's exactly why I started it. So yeah, I love that, man. But man, that whole, like when you hit rock bottom in 2020, that might have been like really stressful, right? So how did you handle that?
Yeah, as men, we infamously horrible in controlling, understanding emotions, putting our hands up when we need help. It was a stressful time period. I was still recovering from the surgery. I was still learning who I was. I'm still learning today. Like I said, I can be totally different personality-wise because of my condition. And yeah, it was that, I know we're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. And until that last point of, no, we're not fine anymore. I bounced on a mortgage in January 2020. There was some funds in the account to pay the mortgage. And then you go, okay, how am I going to, if I can't pay it this month, how am I going to pay it next month? And then it's like, okay, we're not going to be in trouble. We're in trouble. And in the side point as well, having, the family life not being where it needed to be. And the biggest moment, and this is like anyone that's gone through addiction, anyone that's a drug addiction, alcohol addiction, any form of addiction, or anyone that's gone through the darkest point, the biggest step, or the first big step, is acknowledging it. So like I said, myself and my wife actually came out publicly. We actually went on social media. I did a post and came out publicly and go, hey, things are not what they seem. The smiles are not the real smiles, what you think and you see around me at the moment. And we had to acknowledge the issue that was there. And then once you can acknowledge it, you can understand what it is and where it stands. So understand how good it is, how bad it is, how big it is, and then trying to see if you can actually work through it. So from that point is then I had to go and seek out mentors. So a lot of the areas that I was in struggle with was financially. In my business side, I had to go find people that I could reach out to. And I didn't reach out to people and say, hey, could you help me? I literally, because I was so desperate, I reached out to people and I begged them and said, can you help me? Can you save me? Can you teach me what I need to know, or show me how I can get these things under control? And I met people in those sort of 90 days that I literally call part of my family now. They're a key part of who I am today, what I've come today. And I support their business and brands from their point forward, because they took me in, helped me at no cost, and took and controlled my life back into that point. Back on the family side, myself and my wife, we had to do the same sort of thing. We acknowledge it, work through with it, and then understand where it is and try to improve in certain situations with the marriage to make sure that it stayed stronger. Now,
sorry for the interruption. If you're an aspiring, established coach, course creator, author, and speaker, I want to extend an invitation to check out my free training on the podcast Cloak Track Framework by clicking on the link in the description of this podcast. On this training, you're going to learn how combining podcasting with a rare concept that very few people know about called The Cloak Track can help you build a multi-million-dollar network of successful people who can become your clients, put you in front of hundreds of your ideal clients with your message, coaching, courses, and books, help you become a best-selling author, get you booked to speak on stages, or even making an extra $237,600 in the next 6 months. Click on the link of the description of this podcast to learn about the 4 simple steps to make this work. Step number 1 is alignment. Aligning who you're trying to be, what you're trying to do, your goals and purpose with building your podcast so that podcasting is a vehicle that helps you achieve your goals. Step number 2 is leveraging the Cloak Track to find an unlimited supply of your ideal podcast guest. Step number 3 is leveraging the Cloak Track to close an interview with anyone, no matter how rich, famous, or out of your league they may seem. And step number 4 is the content machine, which is the key to tapping into other people's audiences. These are the 4 steps to making the podcast Cloak Track framework work, and I'm not going to hold anything back on this training. So click on the link in the description of this podcast, go and check it out. And once you've done that, if you feel like this would help, we also have a complimentary, free, absolutely free alignment call to get you started and show you exactly how to implement everything. Get access to the training right now, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this episode. Bye-bye.
It's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be great, but we still try to move forward to make sure we could understand where there was loopholes or there was problems and see how we could work through them as best as we could.
Sounds like it was really rough, man. So, I talked about the freedoms right now shortly. Physical freedom, right? You went through a surgery. You had a tumor that was like a golf ball size removed. So physically, right, you were in the best shape. Emotionally, right, you're telling us about the side effects of going through that surgery. Sentimentally, with your family, if you're not good, how can you expect your family to be good, right? And then financially. So everything was like, sounds like it was crumbling down, right? So how long did that go? How long was it like, the negative feedback loop?
Yeah, well, it started sort of in the end of 2019 when there was a realization of, hey, things are, running out, not working, needing to sell a few things to pay off, bills to make ends meet. So that was where it sort of started, 2019. Then it hit the worst case in the beginning part of 2020 when, like I said, bounced on a mortgage, realizing the marriage wasn't as stable because of where we were at that moment. And then we had to work through all of 2020. We had to work through with my mentors, had to work through with family and the life situation to get it back under control. Doesn't mean it's fully under control, doesn't mean it's going to be perfect, but it took most of 2020 to get stable, that by the end of 2020, going into 2021, we had a bit of stability and a bit of normality in our lives, that everything seemed okay. Income was coming in, where we were a lot more stable financially and everything else. And that was where I had the big realization about, a lot of the learnings. And that's why I started implementing in my brand. I pivoted the podcast brand to help more and provide more education. I pivoted my focus more, not going, hey, I want to seek $1 million. Yes, we'd all love $1 million in our bank account, but to me, it wasn't about me seeking that. It was about me seeking to help the other person for them to try and go and get that. I want to have it that any one of my students, anyone that I help out there, come back to me and they are further down the path, or they are up the ladder higher than where I am, because that to me now makes me happier than a few years ago when I wanted to be high up the ladder. When you're high up the ladder and you look down on people, that is of no benefit. When you're standing there and you can push people and help them up that ladder, that's what makes the difference.
Yeah, 100%. So, man, what would you say, to someone out there who might be, going through some tough times, going through some, tough stress, financial stress, emotional stress, physical stress with the family, and they see like there's no way out. At least they feel like there's no way out, right? There's always a way out. So what do you say to them?
I think the first thing to say is you're not alone. As much as everyone feels the situation is unique, we just about hit 8 billion people next month. We are unique as an individual human, but our situations aren't unique. So as much as you might feel that you're alone, it's only you going through the journey, there is so many other people out in the world that'll be going through it and has gone through that situation. So what I would say is people have gone through it and understood it. So don't feel like you're alone. Secondly, I would say is don't be proud or have pride to not come out and reach out and say, hey, I need help. We live in a society now that there's so many people that are willing to help out there. You just got to take that first step and put up your hand and go, I need help. and go and say, hey, I'm struggling with this. I'm struggling with this situation. Can someone help me out? It's so sad how many times we see in the news at the moment throughout the world that we see a young kid or a 20-year-old coming through, or a sports star or someone like that, and we lose them to suicide because we find it afterwards they were going through all these issues and they didn't feel they didn't have the confidence, or they didn't have the opportunity to come out and say, hey, I need help. Or what I would say to that the person at the moment is, come out. If you don't want to come out publicly, reach out to someone out there. If you don't want to come out publicly, reach out to me. Come onto my social media and say, hey, Lawrence, I've got a few struggles at the moment. I'm in these challenges, and we can have a bit of a chat about that privately. And, and I can point in directions of certain people that might be able to help depending on what you're going through.
That's amazing, man. There's literally no excuse right now, right? Like anyone, any of you right now, like anyone who's going to listen, anyone listening to this in the audience, if you're going through something, whether it's physically, emotionally, spiritually, sentimentally, financially, Lawrence has gone through it, right? And right now, he's literally going to, like, for the entire year, he's literally going to be helping 1,000 people for free, or 1,000 hours.
I'm giving 1,000 hours away, and if I go more than 1,000 hours, I'll do more than that. So currently, I'm trying to hit 1,000 hours of free mentorship. I'm around over 200 hours already away, scheduled in. So people are taking it thick and fast, but literally, I'll give all my time outside of the time of my family to anyone that needs help.
Damn, man. I'll probably, I think I'll use some of that as well, man. So thank you. Is there any, like, where do we go? Just reach out to you?
Yep. So it's fine. I'll just reach out to me, and anyone that's listening or watching across the podcast. If that's something you're interested in, just come across me on my social medias, irrespective of where it is. You'll find me under my name, Lawrence Lotze, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, anywhere. Reach out to me, send me a DM, say you're interested in to learn more. I'll send you a link. It's free. It's absolutely free. There's no upsell. There's nothing else. There's no hooks. It is my time. You can take an hour. You can take 100 hours. I'm helping people launch their brand, their business from scratch. I've had people come to me and go, hey, here's my business idea. Where do I go? We're sitting down hour by hour, implementing the strategies and put into place. I've also got other people coming in that have an existing brand or social media and going, hey, how do I take the next steps? How do I grow on Instagram? How do I grow on TikTok? In 2020, TikTok came out and 1 million people got viral overnight, and TikTok realized that, hold on, we can't have so many famous people. So they brought that all back. How do we implement that strategies in 2022 now to try and grow there? I sit down with everyone, go through what they're trying to achieve, and we put plans into place 2 weekly, and then every second week or every 4 weeks, do a review. Anyone that I bring on as board, I stalk them as well for life. So pretty much I follow them back on social media, follow all their handles, and I'll go through at night and I go, cool, what's Alex up to? And then I'll go, hey, Alex, I found this, maybe do this, take a look at these changes. And it's funny because I do that with brands that I've been with for the last 3 years, and they laugh because they're like, dude, I didn't even realize. And I only spoke to them. I spoke to them a year ago, and I still send them the feedback how to change.
Nice. That's super impactful, man. That's I don't even know how to explain that, like, what you got going on. So you pivoted your brand, you pivoted your podcast. Mm-hmm. So what is it that you pivoted to? Like, what is it that you're doing right now, apart from, helping, giving, people free mentorship and stuff?
Yeah. So when the podcast started, The Wolf of Queen Street, I got on amazing people, right? So if anyone goes back to my day one of my podcast and take a look, I went and found, because I wanted that whole Jordan Belfort sort of esque vibe, I went and interviewed the top entrepreneurs in the world. I went and interviewed some amazing people. But what I realized was, and this is sort of a learning to anyone that's in the podcast game, was I went in there, we sat for an hour and we spoke, just about their journey, and they spoke about their knowledge and all the rest of it. But it was just us sitting, talking there, and, there was some quality insights, but I wasn't thinking about what my audience wanted. I was thinking, going, oh my God, I'm speaking to this person, and this is absolutely amazing. But there's a realization going through a brand is there's one thing that me as a host wants, and there's another thing that my audience needs. And what that realization was, that I was going through all these big discussions and the points, but my audience seek knowledge, and they seek knowledge quicker. And what I mean by quicker was we seek knowledge not in 60 minutes. My audience wanted knowledge in 20 minutes. So what that sort of made and happened, that if anyone looks at sort of what I'd call my longer form, so I've got short form content that's about 5 to 7 minutes. I've got sort of mid-range form that's about 20 to 25 minutes. And very rarely now do I go past the 45-minute mark. And what it was that realization was getting guests in there, doing 20 to 25 minutes and going straight to the point of the knowledge. Because on content in the world where we're really overstimulated, we want information or we want education. We want entertainment or education. That's the two things we seek anywhere where we are. TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook is entertainment or education. But we want it quickly. So that's where a lot of the pivot is I still went down and found the top in their industry, but we brought it down. We really focused it and we provided that education, because pretty much the podcast is there to provide education about business and property. And that's why sort of a lot of the content now is 3 to 5 key topics currently in the marketplace. What is one of the last ones I did, what is the 6 type of leadership styles you get out there and what is the benefit of them? Another one was we just did at the moment for people that are looking to improve their exercise. What's the breathing exercises? What's the benefit of nasal breathing and what impact does it do to your life? And so I went really down and hardened how to provide that education to my audience. And as soon as I did that, my audience just went, hey, this is amazing. This is what we wanted. And the growth just staggered straight from there.
Damn, that's a great insight, man. Thank you for that. And all right. So then you go into a couple of topics, straight to the point. No story, no anything, no backstory, no anything.
I mean, we normally spend about 90 seconds, 2 minutes to get into it. Look here, this is one thing that you'll learn, in the podcast game. You can have 40 amazing guests on your show and your podcast might not grow at all. You can have 40 nobodies on your show, but you provide the right education and your podcast will grow. So I've had guests on my show that are highly knowledgeable, but anywhere outside of New Zealand, no one will know them. But they provided the right answer to a question someone was seeking, and the growth was massive. So I go about 90 seconds, 2 minutes into the show, just go, hey, this is the person, we have a quick chat, and we get straight into it. Now, this is what's working for my brand and my audience. Someone else's podcast or brand might have in a total way that they're seeing that the growth, but my audience that comes across and the people that are following my channel or coming across it is they want that education. And this is what I've pivoted to respect my audience.
Nice. I like that. So how do you know what your audience wants? How do you find that out?
So it's about, obviously it's about finding out what an audience wants within my niche. My niche and your niche, Alex, could be different, or your pillar, so you either have a niche or a pillar of your business. In mine, I'm about property and business, about 70% across property and about 30% across business. So those are my two niches. So to me, I need to find out what the audience wants in those two niches, and I need to give them an answer to that. So I live obviously in New Zealand at the moment. We've got one of the most expensive property markets in the world. The average house price in New Zealand at the moment is $1 million. That's just the average house price. And so a lot of people are trying to, for example, in the New Zealand market, trying to understand, how do I get into property? How do I take that step? Where do I learn from it? And we're sitting in a market space at the moment that the education's out there, but it might not necessarily be for free. We're also not shown in school, Alex. I'm sure you'll be aware of this. How to invest. What does investment mean? What does interest rates mean? What does compounded mean? So in my niche, these are sort of key things that people need to know. So I will go and produce videos about this stuff for my audience, whether that's me just doing the video or whether it's me interviewing someone on my podcast and them coming out across and having a discussion about that. So for example, when I go real into property, I'll get property accountants, or I'll get mortgage brokers, or I'll get real estate agents, and we'll talk about the exact stuff that's happening in the market right now, which can benefit them. So, for example, in the property game, you get the similar from like a Grant Cardone in the US, right? He talks about that content, right? And that's why if you look at his growth, a lot of some of his segments do so well because people go straight over and he explains, how to invest, how to get 40 doors, as he talks about, how to buy 50 doors, how to get the equity, how to leverage it, that. And that's where I go through with understanding with my audience is, what is the audience in this niche want? And then I provide that for them.
I love that, man. And that's the number one struggle when it comes to marketing and sales, like knowing who you are even servicing to. like knowing who you're targeting, right? That's
Yep.
I see
Yep.
that like that's like the number one thing that people struggle with. What do you think that is?
I think um, I think the biggest struggle is understanding your audience or your avatar. It depends how you
Yeah.
term it. Your perfect avatar out there is your perfect person at the end, whether you're trying to sell them something or it's someone you want to come across your show. Is you as your business owner or you as that sort of stuff is you've got to accept a lot of humble pie. And what I mean by that is for the first 12 to 18 months going through my journey and all that sort of stuff as well, and my brand is I thought I knew what my audience wants. I thought I knew what was good, what was trending, what was happening in the market. And then you have this realization that no, you don't. Very rarely, outside of maybe 1% or less than that in the market space, has a real understanding. The very few people out there that have a sort of an understanding or quirkiness is the likes of Gary V. He's forward thinking, understanding is so ridiculous. There's very few people outside of him that understands really what people want. The rest of us think we know what the audience wants, and this is why there's that miss. As a brand, you're going, oh, cool. I'm going to start up a hat brand, right? I love my hats. I love my peaks. I'm going to start up a hat brand, and I'm going to make them the way I think they need to be made. And in your brand, you might be lucky enough and it works, but most of the times it doesn't. And the realization is I need to go to the audience or the niche or my pillar and go to them going, actually, what do you want? And in my own brand, I did this. I reached out to a lot of people that followed my show from day one. And I sent them a DM and I said to them, hey, honestly, I know you're my friend, or I know you're my colleague, or I know you're in my network. Can you give me an honest review of my show and what is wrong and what is right and where's their benefit? And they all came back and they said to me straight off the bat, show was too long. Yes, you're having great discussions, but there's too much waffling on and there's too much just having this conversation. Where's the knowledge, quick and fire? What is the benefit for me to the show? What am I going to get out of it? And that's the sort of stuff I took into the show and what made me pivot it to give it that what my audience wants. And that's a big thing what I do now with my brand. It's sort of every 3 to 4 months, I go back to people and go, hey, can you let me know what you think is good or bad with the show? And I'll reach out to people that might have never listened or followed. I'll try and find a small group of people, 20, 30, 40 people that say, hey, by the way, this is me. This is my brand. Can I ask a favor? You might not know about my show, but as a nobody, not a nobody, as a newbie to my brand, can you jump on board and let me know what your thoughts are? Because I would like to make it that it provides the most for people. Now, you can do that with your brand. You can do it with your merch brand, your hat brand, your business, the same thing. We've got to respect what our audience wants or what our customer wants. They are in control, not us. And then when you understand that and implement your business around them, then you'll have that growth and you'll have the correlation.
I love that, man. Yeah, yeah. You know what? I think I'm very, okay, wait. All right, no. Yeah. I think I'm clear. Yeah, I think I'm clear on like my audience and like what they want. But like this is a very good point. Like how can I say this? It's never bad to like come back to the fundamentals, right? And like really, dive deep into that and really get clear on the fundamentals. Like it's never bad to do that. So I'm really having a lot of insights from this podcast and from talking to you and making me question myself, right? So yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, it's good to be able to question yourself. Like I said, is you got to be able to accept a lot of humble pie. Accept that I'm a nobody, but I can provide something for somebody, and that somebody is more important than a nobody. And so that's the biggest thing for me. So on my brand, my business, as much as my image is there and my face is on 90% of the content, it's not about me. It's about someone else. And that is the biggest thing about that is that you've got to go towards that someone else, that somebody down the path. They are the important person. So I've got to give them, him or her, what they want or the knowledge they want or the business they're looking to get at. And that's where you look at the game-changing companies. Look at Uber, look at Airbnb. They were companies that went and looked exactly what their customer wanted and gave it to them simply, and the world changed.
Yeah.
Uber changed, taxis have existed for generations and Uber changed that model within a couple of years, right?
That's crazy. Yeah.
Airbnb was the exact same stuff. The hotels and all of that stuff existed for generations. Airbnb and listen to their customer and put it into place. And that's why there's these companies that come out. And when they come out, you go, oh my goodness, it was such a simple idea. You know why it was such a simple idea? It's because we all had that same issue. It's just one company went out and actually sorted and gave the person the answer to that issue.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah, man. I'm just like, the fundamentals always like, ground you, right? Like the fundamentals always like, yeah. You get ahead of yourself if you're not like focusing on the fundamentals. So thank you very much for that, man. This has been very valuable, for me, and I hope it's been very valuable for everyone else. So yeah, man. So we're almost out of time, and I finished my interviews with 5 questions.
Cool.
Okay. And the first one is, what advice would you give your 20-year-old self if you could?
Slow down. So when I was 20, I was very aggressive about the targets that I wanted to hit. So I hit every single one of my 30-year-old targets I had myself by the time I was about 25. Which means I chased everything. I lived at 100 miles an hour, which means I might have missed a bit of living and a bit of moments, and I might have been arrogant, and people might have thought, I wasn't the most nicest person in the world in my 20s. So I just told myself in my 20s, slow down.
Nice. I like that. The second question is, what is a mindset shift that you've had that you can share that you think has contributed to the success that you're having right now?
There's more money, or there's more wealth. I'm going to use the word wealth, whichever format you see wealth in. There's more wealth in the world for every one of us. So I don't need to consume, take, and grow and take all the wealth and see that I need all the wealth. If we share all the wealth out there, there's enough for all of us. So why try and drive a direction that is just to me and my journey? Give it away, share it, give knowledge to other people so they can achieve their wealth that they want as well.
Yeah. Awesome. I like that. Mindset map. So, do you have any insight, strategy, tactic for people who may lack or need more clarity for their life?
I think the biggest thing is sitting down and understanding where you are first. You can't have a goal line if you don't know where you're starting.
Yeah.
So a lot of us are chasing goal lines, but we don't know if we're on the starting blocks. We don't know if we're 10 meters down. If you are trying to chase a Usain Bolt and going, I want to chase him, but you haven't got the clarity where you're starting, you might be starting 400 meters behind him and you're never going to catch him. No one's going to catch him anyway. But you have to have an understanding right now where you are. Once you can understand where you are, you can then take that second step in understanding where you would like to go to, or where would you like to take that next step. Because fundamentally, if you're in a situation where it's unpleasant like I was, you can't take 10 steps, or you can't look at 10 steps. You can look at one step at a time. We're going to know where we are, look at the next step, look at the next step. And once each step goes, it gives you a subtle bit of visualization of where we are and how things are looking, and also a bit of stability so that you can take a bigger step the next one's going. Normally, the first few are very small and very short, and it's not as tangible. It's not as controlled. Let's say, for example, someone's trying to just take control of their wealth or their money at the moment. The first couple of steps might be, cool, where am I? Hey, I'm sitting there and I've got $50 a month at the end of the month to live on. That's your step. Now, your first step after that could be, okay, how do I just take it to $100 a month? Not how do I get $1,000 a month and I can live. How do I take it to that step first? What changes can I make for that small step? And then you go again a step, and then you go again a step.
Nice. I like that. That way, like, you don't make it overwhelming, because overwhelmed people end up not doing anything, right? So
Yep. And if the goal line's too big, if I say to you, Alex, cool, I'm going to give you 6 months, and I want you to be the #1 podcast in the world, above Joe Rogan, above Paul and Jake Paul, and those guys. I want you to hit 1 million downloads a day. You're going to turn around to me and go, no, there's no chance.
I wouldn't even try.
You wouldn't even try. But I said to you, hey, Alex, how about this? How about over the next month, I want you to try and hit 100 downloads a day. And you're going to go, cool, I might be doing that already. I might not be doing that already. But going, yep, that's tangible. And then the second month, they go, how about we do 500 downloads a day? And then all of a sudden, in 6 months' time, you might be hitting the same target. What I said to you in the first week, said no chance. But because it's bite-sized and tangible and you can actually understand it in a logic way, you'll go for it.
Awesome. Motion. So what is one habit that you have right now, man, that you think is contributing to your success?
The willingness to help no matter what.
Yeah.
It's a hard one sometimes, but just the willingness, no matter what, to try and help, to go out and help people and trying to find as many people as I can to help. I almost get frustrated because I'm like, hey, I want to help. Where are the people? And I know these people out there. Sometimes it's a bit frustrating because I know so much noise and, clickbait and horrible stuff on social media, that me trying to actually help and be a benefit, they might just think it's more BS like everything else.
Yeah. The last question is measure, man. What do you think about measuring and tracking?
I've got certain things at the moment in short and sort of midterm that I'll look at. Just from a simple point of view, from me, from a brand point of view, I'll pick a social media brand, say for example Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, and I'll have a 30 to 60 day target on that one, and I'll measure across that and see how it goes. On life itself, or like I said, I've got my journey for 2022. I'll track on what I'm trying to achieve in that sense, in the 1 year stint at the moment, because I'm still only 3 years from where I was. I'm not looking at that 5 or 10 year plan. I'm not focusing so far down the path. I'm still working on the granular 1 year to 1 year. I keep the fundamentals across it of, try be the best person I am, try, be the best father I can be and best friend that I can be. And then sort of do a 6 to 12 month is my longest form of what I'm looking to do, because things happen so quickly. Focusing on the 3 year plan is just unrealistic to me.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Thank you very much, man. You've shared a lot of wisdom. I really appreciate it. And do you have anything else that you want to mention?
I think covered most. To anyone that's listening or watching at the moment, yeah, by all means, if you've got any questions or anything like that, or just want some tips or help, or just want to reach out, please feel free to DM me on any social media. I respond to people. Literally, if I'm not sleeping, you'll get a response with me within a couple of hours as well. And seek me up on social media, and then let's just contact and have a chat.
Awesome, bro. Thanks, man. Well, thank you very much. And social media, do you have any specific place that we can go to?
Main places at the moment is my Instagram or TikTok. So you can just find me under Lawrence Lotze. Pretty much there's only 2 Lawrence Lotzes in the world. So you won't miss me. But I exist on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram. I'm across all the social channels, even Snapchat. I'm across all of one of those. So whichever platform your preference is on, I'll be there. Just reach out and let's do some stuff together.
Awesome, bro. We'll put all those links there, wherever this appears. Thank you very much. I've had a blast, and I'll see you later, man.
Thanks so much, Alex.
Thank you for watching the Gentleman's Success, Happiness, and Fulfillment Talk podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with one friend, leave us a comment, and let us know. 99% of people never leave a review or comment, but we love and are very thankful with the 1% of you who do. If there's something or someone you want to see on this podcast, send me a message on Instagram at Alex_Ramirez1020 and let me know. As a thank you for that, I have an amazing surprise for each and every one of you who does take the time to leave us a comment or review on YouTube or one of the major podcasting platforms